Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, and good night, and welcome back to the Amateur Otaku live stream. We are back and we are talking Spy X Family Season 1, Core 2. There's no lies with that hashtag. Bring it back. Bring it back. There is truth. Thighs save lives. And we have another set of time. No. Welcome back, guys. If you love what we do here at the Amateur Otaku podcast and live stream, make sure you click on the like button, subscribe, click on the bell icon so you don't miss any videos, any coverage of the Amateur Otaku podcast. We do live streams every single Sunday. If you miss the live streams, don't worry. We have awesome episodes throughout the week. And if you want to listen to us on the go, you can check out every live stream on Monday in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever podcasts are found. Spotify, you'll find it. So, guys, we've been talking about Spy X Family for a long time now because it's been one of the most refreshing shows to come out of the summer season. And the summer season was a pretty quiet season this year, right? It wasn't like it didn't have like a huge, crazy amount of stuff happening. And Spy Family,
my dress up darling carried. It carried, okay?
What?
It carried the summer and spring season. That's all I'm saying. Like, you know,
you're not wrong. You are not wrong. It was amazing. It was beautiful. It was funny. It was great. And now we're back with episode 21, NightFall / First Fit of Jealousy, and Mario Tennis Spy X Family Edition, or episode 22, the Underground Tennis Tournament, the Campbelldon, which sounds horrible. But
that is a long time. I haven't seen a title that long since High School Musical, the series.
Oh my gosh. Don't remind me of that show.
Are we talking about good things? Because apparently this turned sour very quickly. I mean, that you're just cooked? No. Okay, so guys, we are back with Spy X Family. So, guys, let's just jump right in. It's hard for me to say let's pick up where we left off because the last couple of episodes have actually been particularly fillerish, at least in their nature, not because they're fillers, because they do have pretty much underlines of what the main goal of these characters are, or at least Loid or the family's goals, right? Even though they're very Anya-centric episodes more than anything. But I want to get my concern out of the way because there's a lot of good stuff on these episodes. So I wanted to discuss about my main concern and then we can just focus on what we love. And I wasn't here the last time we talked Spy X Family. And I know you guys mentioned a little bit about last time about what they're doing with the material, how they're adding things that have become anime only and stuff like that, or not as lengthy as they were in the books. And I want to hear your thoughts in a simple fresh version here also because I want to jump into that conversation as I was reading the private comments as we jump into these next two episodes. Now, I'm guessing based on the fact that you guys talked about it last time, and Jamie, I want to hear your thoughts. The last couple of episodes have been pretty fillery, right? I'm not the only one that feels that.
Oh yeah, absolutely not.
Yeah.
We talked about this a little bit last time I was on the show, but they've definitely been feeling and when I say fillery, I don't mean like filler as in like bad, boring to watch, but it's like definitely not following the path of the main story. Like I don't feel like we're progressing the main story in any way or getting any closer to Loid's goal of like, you know, stopping the crisis between the West Oz and East Oz, I think it is.
Ostania, I think it is.
Ostania.
The East and West is all.
Yeah, the East and West. That's all I can keep. I'm very bad with names. You think I gotta remember these fake countries? Like, no, I can't. But they definitely they've been fun to watch. But after so many like filler-ish episodes, you start to wonder like, okay, like when are we going back to like the main thing? You know, I think having filler in times where, or slowing down the pace in times where like things are really heating up, and we've just had like action packed episode after episode, similar to like what My Hero Academia did this week, to where they kind of pulled back a little bit and gave us a bit of exposition before continuing on with all the fighting and stuff that's been going on. I think that's fine, but at this point, Spy Family feels like it's like really rolling to a stop, if not like we've kind of been stopped for a little while.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit unfortunate because I think it's gonna probably push some people away. I'm still definitely here to see what happens next, but yeah, it's definitely been feeling a bit fillerish, in my opinion as well.
It here's what it feels like to me, if I may. it,
Sure, yeah.
it 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 feels like when you play a video game and you don't want the main story to end, so you do all the side quests. That's what feels like is happening. Like I'm playing God of War Ragnarok, right? And this is before Ragnarok begins. I'm just gonna say I'm gonna knock out these 20 side quests. That's what these episodes feel like. It's like, yeah, I'm having fun times with these characters that I like, but I'm not getting the meat and potatoes of what this story is supposed to be.
Right.
And that's kind of what it feels like to me, where it's like these are fun episodes. I'm not gonna sit here and say I didn't enjoy them. I had fun, like I always do.
Yeah.
But the story's not progressing because it feels like these are the side quests, right? Like this episode in particular, the NightFall episode was good, but the first bit of jealousy, while cute, it's like you can tell that the episode was 16 minutes. Like the credits start rolling at the 16-minute mark.
Yeah, I was like, wait, what happened?
And I'm like, huh? And so it's like, yeah, okay. That's cute, Anya and Bond. I enjoyed it. It was fine. But that's where it's like, yeah, this was definitely one of those moments where me and Atreus go and do a thing that has no bearing on what the story actually is. I'm just hanging out with the boy.
Yeah.
To that scene's quote unquote defense, it is from the manga. It's actually not something that they made on the spot.
Yeah, and that's fine. It still feels that's my point. It's that it feels like we're just kind of meandering a bit. It's like if My Hero Academia just decide to insert a moment from team up missions in the middle of this season. It's like, yeah, it's fun seeing Deku team up with Midako, but that has no bearing on what's happening now, and it just feels like a distraction.
Yeah. I think like a better way to have gone about this, if they did want to show all of these moments, and that's why they're kind of like holding back on some of like the main story, is like similar to how like I think Demon Slayer and Bleach does it, where like at the end of the episode you'll see like a little clip of like the characters doing something goofy or something that's like not really related to the story, but you still get to see like what the other characters are doing in the meantime. I think that probably would have been a better way to like adapt the things that they're doing now. Just because it like putting these scenarios into what we think is like the prime time of like, you know, our 20 like 22 23 minutes of an episode, it's especially at this point where they've done it multiple times, it just feels like we're getting nowhere.
And I think that's the big concern, right? And you know what? I don't know if I want to say that it's a concern, but that's kind of where I felt that I think when a filler becomes a problem, the filler becomes a problem when you can feel that everything has stopped. Where you feel that there's no more motion. And it really does feel that there's no more motion. Like we stop having any kind of motion by the time Bond joined the family.
Yeah.
Which was what, maybe 3 episodes ago? Maybe.
That's at the top of this core. That's the sad part.
Yeah, I think
Right.
Like certain episodes
now,
ago.
now, and to Isaac's defense, like he said, a lot of these short stories are part of the manga, which is great. We're not telling you not to do it, right? And we did have some episodes in the first core that were vignettes, right? Like there was 2 built-in episodes in one, right? Like we it's not that we haven't seen it before, and it's okay to do it. Now, on one side, part of me wants to go, good for you, Cloverworks. Good for you for deciding to change the format mid core, because you want to tell different kinds of stories, including these characters. It's like literally Spy Family meets the Funny Papers. The Funny Papers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's
It
literally what's
almost,
happening.
to me, it almost feels like we've had a genre change from like comedy action to more like slice of life, which I love slice of life anime, but like we started with comedy action, so I was expecting more comedy action.
Right. Right. And it's like there's a way of doing it where you can just flow. Now, I wonder if we would have felt the same if they would have made the decision to go Demon Slayer, where they would make episodes of different length and they would control it that way for themselves. I think this is one of those shows that one of the things that it's affecting it is having to stick to a 23-minute runtime because a lot of these chapters, a lot of these episodes have to be created out of 3 to 4 chapter chunks, and all these 3 to 4 chapters have nothing to do with each other.
Yeah, that's where I guess I would need Isaac to kind of confirm some of that. Is that while some of these are manga canon, are they usually like thrown together this like the Nightfall chapter? I assume that may have been like 2 or 3 chapters in the manga. Was it immediately followed up by First Fit of Jealousy, or was that like a point chapter like 2.5 type of deal, where it's like a half chapter that's just kind of thrown in?
The one thing when you get introduced to Fiona is chapter 30 altogether, with the whole jealousy act between the dog and Anja is just a 30.5, just a small short chapter that's in that goes next into
So
next into chapter 31 to 32, which the next episode is covering.
Gotcha.
It's sort of like a in-between stuff.
Yeah, so when a manga usually does the 0.5s, they are canon. I'm not saying that they're not canon, but they are like those OVA type of situations, right? Where if the season just went as is without it, they could have made this an OVA during the downtime until they get to season 2. And that's where, to me, it feels really frustrating, because they've done this multiple times, and it's like all of these could have just been OVAs, you know?
The problem with this is that I counted, and while there are some weeks that you only get special illustrations as the chapters instead of an actual chapter, if you count that all, if you subtract that for the quote unquote chapter, so to speak, on Manga Plus, it's around only 71. No, sorry. It's around 70 to 80 chapters altogether.
And you just said we adapted chapter 30, right?
30 for the first chapter, for the first episode, and 32 for this episode.
Gotcha.
And it's a bit of chapter 33, although not all that old. Okay, I think it was just a panel or 2 from chapter 33, if I'm not mistaking it.
So, yeah, we talked about this last time and talking about it a little bit this time too. It's just kind of frustrating. But I also want to be clear and just reiterate, I'm enjoying everything we're getting. It's just poorly paced, if that makes sense, for how they're going about it.
The biggest, this show, manga's strongest, the strongest point and the biggest weakness at the same time of this manga is the fact that it is structured as a measure of it's a weekly spy show. It's they have following a trend altogether, like like a normal show, but you can sort of like start with episode 1, but then you later continue on with episode, let's say, 4. You can easily do that, and
it's episodic, like Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah, exactly. And which is why they are able to do as these kind of episodic episodes with as a filler part, because it's not it's in some you can kind of say that they don't really break canon kind of deal. I
Yeah.
do
Go ahead.
I do
Sorry.
wonder how the whole anime would have looked at if they would have waited for the animes to have, like, let's say 100 to 120 chapters before they started production, because I think the fact that they are the fact that the manga has so little to work with in contrast to what an anime season anime usually have. I wonder if that slows. Like you said, I enjoy everything that I see so far, even the filler kind of deal. But I do wonder if this show would have benefited as in a way to have more chapters to work with before it started production.
I mean, it's
Is that
possible, but also I feel like if you so this is the thing, again, me being the noob here to anime, I don't quite understand the production of a filler episode, but I feel like with the show's nature, with the manga's nature being an episodic spy show, why don't we make these filler more interesting? It's like Loid goes on a mission, and that's the episode. Because I feel like if some of these were more engaging, it wouldn't be as bad. Like, I can only watch Anya do a slice of life thing so many times before it kind of feels grating. Whereas Yor has done nothing really of significance this entire core. Maybe make a filler.
You will love the next season. Next season. If I'm not mistaken, the next arc, you will more than likely love them.
That's awesome. But these filler episodes could have been about Yor. You know, that's what I'm just saying. Like, if you're gonna do a filler, start to fill in some of the gaps. That's what at least I like about the My Hero Academia filler episodes, is that they do focus on Uraraka. They do focus on Asui. Because they don't get anything to do in the main story until now.
Well,
I can tell you right now why they focus so much on Anya. It's because, if I'm not, unless I've missed something here, that the character that is the most popular in Japan is Anya.
Yeah,
Do I
she's
need
great.
to say more?
I love Anya.
No, but correct me if I'm wrong. The correct definition of a filler episode is an episode that is not manga. It's 100% anime. But the problem with the Spy Family thing is the other side of it, is that everything that they're putting on the screen, correct me if I'm wrong, Isaac, at least 80 to 90%, if not everything that's going on the screen, is in the books.
Yeah.
So it's not really a filler. So the question is this: for the medium, should it have been cut for the sake of proper pacing and reintroduced later on?
Yeah, I mean, I the reason I put them in the filler category is because, like Isaac was saying,
they're cuttable.
They're half chapters, so they don't, they can be placed anywhere in the timeline almost. And so, yeah, for pacing wise, they really don't belong there. They're just fun extra bits for the readers to check out, but they're not necessary, which is, again, the definition of a filler.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think like like Mike has been saying, I definitely have been enjoying these like filler, what feels like filler episodes, but in terms of like how it's affecting the pacing of the story and like how far we progressed from the start of the season, I definitely feel that they could have either spaced them out a bit more, or if they just could not find a way to rework them in the schedule, then just like pick the best of those types of stories and then ditch the rest, unfortunately, and just keep it for something that manga readers can enjoy.
Yeah, because going again back to Avatar: The Last Airbender, one of the most popular episodes from season 2 is the Tales of Ba Sing Se, and that is a collection of short stories that follow all of the main characters as we waste time in Ba Sing Se. They're literally stuck there for a month, and so that one episode is showing the life of Aang, Katara, Sokka, Toph, Zuko. I feel like Spy Family could have just made like 2 episodes of these short stories and just like collect them together instead of like this one being Nightfall, just tacking on another short story after the credits, which was a weird choice because they've never done that before either. It just feels kind of disjointed that way.
It came off more of a random after credit scene that didn't have to be an end credit scene.
Yeah, it was so weird. But anyway, I loved Nightfall.
Yeah.
I would even say last thing about the format, so we can jump into what we really want to talk about,
Yeah.
which is this person that keeps low key calling you a slut, and Mario Tennis Spy Family. What do you guys think? For some reason, I feel that it would have been more effective if the whole Bond story would have gone first, and then they do the Nightfall thing in the same episode because it connects directly to the next one.
Yeah, it felt again disjointed. Which,
But do you think that change in editing would have made more sense?
I mean, it might have.
Maybe. I mean,
It-
there's definitely, the common theme of jealousy there. So I guess thematically it could have been better.
Yeah,
It's
that
like
is-
starting Man of Steel from the boat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understood that reference. But yeah, editing, I don't know. It may have worked. It may not have worked. Like even my suggestion of collecting all the short stories and turning them into a singular episode might not have worked. It's kind of easy to backseat direct and rewrite. So I try my best not to do that.
2020.
Right. But yeah, I totally get where you're coming from, Brandon, with that. Because yeah, having those two bleed into each other probably makes a lot more sense than having a weird break in between, especially since it does feel like it's a 2-part episode because we're introduced to this Fiona Frost character. Then we have a break, and then we are back following Fiona Frost in the next episode. It's just kind of strange.
Which is kind of interesting because let's talk about Fiona Frost, aka Nightfall, aka
Male your.
yeah, yes. No, you mean male Yuri, female Yuri?
Yeah, female
Yes.
Yuri. Oh, sorry. I'm.
Wow.
I think it's sleepy.
But yeah, I mean, I like her as a character, even though it feels derivative. But I love how she has a very, I don't know. I love this show is the best when it's growing, when it's expanding. I think I mentioned this a while back when I mentioned that one of the best things in one of the filler episodes was the reintroduction of the handler and the time we spent with her. And the idea that by fleshing out her character and her backstory, you're kind of making the world bigger, and that's kind of what I want. And then we stopped doing that for like 5 episodes. Which again, I don't want to keep talking about the same thing. But when you do a lot of multiple stories in episodes that have nothing to do with it, instead of being like 2 episodes, it feels like 6 different episodes before we get to the one we want. So it feels like we're waiting longer, even though we're not. It's like they're playing with our emotions.
It's like what Jamie said earlier, though, right? Because like being here in the West, a lot of cartoons are episodic. Like SpongeBob is an episodic series where you just jump in and you see the lives of SpongeBob, Patrick, and Sandy.
Ma!
So, I'm used to that format and I love that style of storytelling because, yeah, if you miss an episode, it's okay. I remember missing an episode of Avatar Last Airbender and that wrecked me because I was so confused on how the heck we lost Appa.
Yeah.
That's the episode I missed.
Oh, no.
It was
Wow. Yeah.
awful. But I'm used to episodic storytelling. I just feel like Spy Family had the weird position of it doesn't start out that way. It starts out as a serialized format and then shifts into episodic storytelling.
Yeah.
Which is probably why it's got these weird issues in season 1, whereas season 2 it might be a little more cohesive. Because remember, we're still adapting the early stages of the manga, I assume. So I'm sure these are still the growing pains of that series. I would assume. Maybe I'm wrong there, Isaac. But not as many shows.
Manga.
What'd you say? Sorry.
Lost in manga.
Okay, that doesn't help me, but all right. But one thing I love about MHA, the previous show we were just talking about, is that it hits the ground running and it just doesn't stop. But that's a rare occurrence. There are growing pains when it comes to starting off on a new manga, on a new story. So the format might just be the mangaka experimenting, and then it gets a little more focused as it goes on, type of deal too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, definitely introducing a character like NightFall and directly making her a big part of the episode that follows shows a step in that direction, at least. Or at least it feels that way. Like we're going back into some type of serialized content. Because we've introduced this character, so now we have to spend time with this character. Now, I'm of two minds here, but do you love NightFall enough that you're able to ignore the Yuri retread, or do you feel the Yuri retread on NightFall as a character?
I guess I'll go first. I didn't think of Yuri 1 second at all until you guys just said it now.
Yeah,
mainly
here.
because Yuri and yours relationship are not the same. Even though, yeah, it might be a similar character beat of I'm in love with this person, I hate the other. But yeah, since this is a romantic relationship and the other one is a sibling relationship, it just didn't. Those two.
Are you sure that's a sibling?
You know,
a very
that would,
close sibling relationship.
That would be a very different type of anime.
All I know is this. Yuri does not have the same relationship in his mind that Yor has with Yuri. Or at least that's the way it's presented.
This is a family show. I
Yep.
choose to assume. It's one of those things when we go to My Hero and we have 30-year-old Twice and 16-year-old Toga, where it's like, yeah, they're just really good friends. That's all we'll say about that.
You know, I never even thought about it like that. Mm.
I remember when I first got.
I mean, they see each other as brothers. That's actually part of the, you know. Yeah.
I remember when I saw got her introduced in the manga for the first time. The first thing that sorry, the first thing that came to mind is she's either ending up with Yuri as a joke of them connecting through hating the other person, aka he hates Loid, she hates Yor, kind of deal, and they will connect like that, or just as a big joke. And considering how much the series love to be bizarre, I can see that happening just for a giggle.
Giggle.
And I have to ask Mike specifically because we are talking about how we they are always adapting several chapters like that. What's your opinion of the whole idea of them? Do you think I'm onto something when it comes to them feeling rather restrained with the amount of chapters if they only cover one chapter technically, or well, should I say 1.5 for an entire episode and not just 3 to 4?
So I mean, it comes down to the content. Since I'm not reading Spy Family, I don't know how many pages a chapter is. Is it like
it was a fairly long?
Okay, so is it like a monthly series or a bi-weekly?
I think it's bi-weekly.
Bi-weekly. So we're looking at Boruto length. Got it. So, yeah, I don't think they're necessarily being restrained. Again, it's just more of how they're pacing them out. Because the NightFall episode felt short because the credits start rolling at the 16-minute mark. Mm-hmm. But I feel like, and again, this just goes to the direction of the episode itself, not necessarily the manga contents. A cheap way to kind of pad out that episode instead of adding the random Anya bit is to just cut back and forth between Fiona Frost and Yor, but also just splice in the walk that Loid is taking Anya on, and you can just do anime only content, like have a scene with those two before they get back to the apartment. That can get you an extra 2 to 3 minutes, and you're right there at like 19 minutes. So those are the type of changes I would make pacing wise, not necessarily how they're adapting it.
So going back to backseat directing with Mike Thomas, Jamie, did you feel a retread or did you enjoy Fiona from the get go?
Like Mike, I didn't think of Yuri at any point watching Nightfall. So I think she's different enough to be interesting to me. I really like her, and I think it's, I wasn't expecting her to be like head over heels for Loid upon her first introduction. I thought it was more of a, like, I don't know, really close teacher student kind of relationship, I guess, until she full on is like Suki, and I'm like, okay, I see what's going on here. So yeah, I don't know. I like her character. I think she's interesting, and I especially enjoyed the following episode, like the underground, Mario Tennis episode, where we get to see just like how much she likes Loid into play, and also like how they play off of each other. So I think she works as kind of like a character that I guess somewhat mirrors Yuri, but isn't exactly the same.
And I think that's where I stand. Like she's one of those characters, and I think it has to do also with the fact that I haven't 100% enjoyed the previous episodes. You know how when you start like losing a little bit of interest, you start looking for everything that looks interesting, but then you overthink it anyway to make sure that you're not going down another rabbit hole or boredom. So
that is a very specific Brandon type of problem.
yes, that's me. It's like, for example, there's like, I'm the type of person that I see one thing once, and when I'm watching it again, I'm replaying everything already. So I'm seeing things and fast forward in my mind as I'm watching it. So unless I really love it, I don't want to watch it again because I've already seen it. That's how I feel. And now I did love Fiona Frost. I did love her as Nightfall. I like her as a new character. I think when I walk away from the show is when I start seeing the parallels. But I like her enough to enjoy the time that I spend with the character. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I guess for me, the difference between her and Yuri, right, is that Yuri's hatred of Loid has no bearing on the story. It's just kind of a funny character beat. Like, I don't feel like Yuri ever poses a threat to Loid, whereas Fiona very much can just replace Yor, right? Because of if the mission requires it.
Well, remember, but then again, you have the other side of the equation. It's not a problem for Yuri until he figures out that he's a spy for the other side.
Yeah, but I'm saying like Yuri doesn't feel like he's smart enough to get there just yet,
right?
Without some help.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. And that's why I feel like I don't feel a parallel between those two. Like until you guys mentioned it, I can kind of see it, but Yuri's kind of an idiot, and Fiona's very much not. She's just a big Loid simp. So
yes,
there's enough differences to where it didn't even cross my mind.
Now, focusing on the good things. Mario Tennis was awesome. Is awesome. Yes. And I love the fact that we finally have two spies being spies with each other.
Yeah.
Like it's the first time we've seen it. Like we've seen soldiers work together with Twilight, but we haven't seen two spies being spies with each other working together. Like that whole scene to me, I mean, the whole tennis thing was a great episode throughout. But in the Nightfall episode, the whole thing of them talking in secret while actually talking.
Mm-hmm. That was frustrating. This is why I watch dubs. I could not keep up.
That was awesome. But then the other side, when whatever's happening in the room to drug them is happening, and they're talking Morse code with their feet and their hands. Those little touches like that is like, mwah. I like this. I like this. I need more. Oh, and by the way, I didn't. I wasn't in the previous episode, but I gotta say this. This is from 2 episodes ago, so I'm sorry, but I just thought about it. That moment where Anya talks to Yor to probably going to her place of work, and Yor goes on this murder spree in her mind,
Mhm.
and Anya goes, "I think I'm gonna go to Dad's job." So, but yeah, the episode was great with Nightfall and tennis, and I love how there were superpowers.
Yeah, tennis
Yeah.
is one of my favorite sports, so I had a blast with that episode. My only complaint is that I wanted them to go full sports anime and just like make it an episode of Haikyuu.
Honestly, that's kind of how I felt at the beginning. I'm like, oh, okay, this is hype.
Yeah, but you know, it's okay. This is Spy Family, so they didn't go that far, but
Yep.
it was still fun.
Isaac, what were your thoughts?
On the entire Mario Tennis fights, or are you talking about just this episode as a whole?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I do enjoy me some Mario Tennis, and I think they handled it quite well here. I mean, it would have been, how to put it, it wouldn't. It was needed within the story to have just ramp up the ridiculousness of the whole power-ups everyone had, kind of deal. That makes any sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Although the siblings in the last fight of that episode just made it completely Mario Tennis.
No, I
Yeah.
love how he built up to that. It's like playing Super Punch Out, where you
The
start with
final
like
boss.
like you start with the regular boxer, and then you go with I don't know the wrestler at the end or whatever.
Like, don't you start with Glass Yo and end with Mike Tyson?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes. I
Yeah.
love the whole thing. It's awesome.
I love episode 22 because this is the first time in like 5 episodes where we're not doing the 2-part bit, and so it just felt like a more fleshed out story, right?
I love how we went back to. This is why we hate the other ones. This one,
No, but I'm like the stakes were much higher. Like the pace
Of course.
was
Yeah,
much
no,
more
I
on
agree.
point.
I agree.
It's not trying to retread that because I really
Yeah.
did love these 2 episodes.
Yeah. that was
Nightfall as a character, I think is fascinating. One, I thought Loid was going to get his back broken that episode because I'm a Batman nerd. When I see Nightfall, I only think of one thing. But
it didn't have the K at the beginning.
this is true. That is Nightfall. Totally different. That's my mistake. But yeah, I think she plays as a fascinating foil for Yor, which has been my complaint of the entire story thus far. This is only season 1. Of the premise is the spy and the assassin, and we don't see the assassin do anything for like the last 15 episodes.
Yeah.
So like I'm hoping that we get something from Yor, and according to Isaac, I should be happy with whatever comes next season. But it's like I love everything we do with Anya. I love everything we do with Loid. I need to see Yor have something aside from learning how to cook. So I think Fiona makes up as a fun foil for her.
You know, we get a small glimpse in this episode where she thinks about killing Fiona. So I don't know. Maybe that thought will grow stronger.
Yeah.
The Emperor will whisper, "Do it." To finally commit.
I don't know why, but I love how you mentioned the whole thing about we don't want the best story of Yor to be just seeing her cook, but I find it interesting how that was one of the best episodes of the entire season. So if we love that, imagine when we actually get great Yor stories.
Yes. That's what I'm here for. I love
Yeah.
that's the thing. I love all of these characters so much. And again, harping, I love everything we've gotten so far, even though pacing wise it was kind of wonky. I think that's just a testament to how strong the show is, though, is that we want to see more of them and more interesting scenarios, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Hmm.
I hope that the final boss isn't the brothers and there's something else going on,
Hmm.
because I can't have this end in a two-parter next chapter. Now, that being said, I do want to talk about this best joke of this episode. Is it the best? Do we have a favorite moment of the previous episode? Do we have a favorite moment of this episode?
Whew.
I know for me, my favorite moment of episode 21 was honestly the fit of jealousy part. Even though I
Mhm.
know we were critiquing like having the smaller bite size like two part or two episodes within an episode thing, but that was honestly my favorite just because of the faces that Anya made, and then like Bond's response is just like, "Oh no,"
Yes.
like I messed up. And
Yes.
Bond being jealous of the penguin was also pretty funny to me. As far as my favorite part of episode 22, I would just say when Loid is like, I've been dabbling in tennis, and in my head I'm thinking, okay, either he's just gonna be okay at tennis and he'll really have to outsmart his opponent, or he's just gonna be so like godly amazing at it. And then he hits the tennis ball. I'm like, okay, we're watching Haiku now. All right, let's go. So I really
I'm just glad Becky wasn't watching this game.
Oh man, I'm sure Becky would have a. She's like, I'm gonna
I
get all on him, whoever
I
that
have
is.
to unfortunately correct myself. The arc I'm thinking of is about 10 chapters in, so it is a risk that it could be in season 2. I do apologize, but there is something that is pretty good like after this.
Okay, nice.
I'll
The
be there. We'll
power
be
the
watching.
power of hope.
Hmm.
Mike, favorite moments from episode 21 and 22.
Ooh, favorite episode from 21. Okay, because I watch these together. I don't watch them separately, so they may blur a little bit.
So
I
so
just
so the episodes might separate themselves, but you don't watch the episodes separately.
Yeah, no, I don't. I just the day before we do these recordings, I just watch them both. It's easier for me that way. um, but for episode 21, I think one of my favorite bits is Fiona's reveal. Right, is that we first see her and she's like, I need to help Twilight on this mission, and then we get like the reveal that she's like madly in love with him. I just think is so
Hmm.
funny because I did not expect that. And the entire
Yeah.
episode, she's just stone cold.
Hmm.
Like that's more of a character beat, not necessarily a moment. But I just think that's so funny how inside she's a mess, but she just doesn't show it
No,
because
and she does like the whole high pitch squeals and everything.
yes,
That's
Yeah.
it's
yes.
so funny. It's so great. That's why I think she's such a fun addition to this cast. Um, and yeah, I do like first fit of jealousy. Like Anya's watching her spy show, her cartoon, and the penguin dies. Like, what is she
Yeah.
watching? It's like, yeah, that's kind of funny. Like, I didn't expect it to be Bond tears the toy up, which is
No.
cute. Again, I
Hmm.
know we were kind of hard on it. It's still a cute short. I still like it. Um, the Mario Tennis episode, I just again, me being the tennis fan that I am, I just love actually watching the matches and like the brother and sisters high tech rackets. Like it's going out of bounds and the racket
Hmm.
just extends and just knocks it back. It's just so stupid. And I love it. And I'm like, give that to Serena, dang it. Maybe she could come out of retirement.
Oh my gosh, could you imagine?
True. Isaac, favorite moments from episodes 21 and 22. Go.
Well, favorite moment of episode. So the 21 is probably the whole short story because it's just so cute and funny. I'm not, while I don't hate Fiona like I do with Jury, because she doesn't have a Brocon, and I still hate those cis and Brocon, but uh, It's can't deny that stuff like that with Anya just melts my heart. Kind of deal. Just her having some funny, cute moments, kind of deal. And when it comes to the next episode after that, well, it's just the entire insanity that this Spy X family meets Mario Tennis. Just going from a regular couple to guys on extreme steroids. I mean, it's not even how should I put it? How they think these steroids would work in a quote unquote official game is kind of funny, and the fact that they are just ramping it up more and more. I'm not that big into tennis normally, but it's stuff like that that makes it just even funnier.
I'm just laughing going back to the Nightfall episode, and Anya spills the cocoa, and Fiona's just like, if I were her mother, she wouldn't spill a drop in the first place. You just see her like beating the crap out of Anya.
And nobody's seen this except Anya.
She immediately runs to you like, you're the best mom of all time.
Like, let's cuddle, Mom.
Those are the moments that make me laugh. Like,
So
I mean, you can't blame Anya for being scared of that woman.
oh no, I'm scared of her.
So my favorite moment is the whole thing with the dog and the pig. Like the fact I still find it hilarious that Anya calls all her dolls and things agents, and Loid just doesn't get it. Like he thinks that it's all because of Bondo Man, and it's really because she knows that he's a spy. Like I love the nuance and all of that. It's like, oh no, Agent Penguin. It's just so that was my favorite of that.
I do love, just jumping in right quick, I do love how one of the first short stories was her getting that penguin. And so it's like the short stories do connect. If you really
That was actually the ending of the first court, right?
Yeah, I think so. So I love how they do connect a little bit there. Just to clear up some of our complaints from earlier. I think that is kind of cool. How she says, I love it because you got it for me. And that's the part where I'm just like, aww.
Yep. All of that. All. And then there's one line in episode 22 that I think was just perfection. When Loid literally says, why do we have to do this cover? A couple? And like Nightfall is just losing her shit. It's just great. We're gonna do this now as spies, and then suddenly one day, for real, like it's just,
I also like how they were the phony couple. That was funny.
yes. Oh, by the yes, the entendre game is strong.
I mean, Lloyd's cover name is Forger, so I love how they just keep the theme there because that's so funny. I also love you were mentioning her like inner monologues, right? Of Fiona Frost. I love how she's just Kitagawa with Gojo, where she's like, I was him. And that's all Anya hears in her mind. And I'm just like, oh boy, this is Kitagawa all over again for my dress up darling. Love to see it.
So great. So great. So guys, anything else on Spy X Family?
We've got 3 episodes left. I'm sad.
Oh man.
Why would you be sad? Since after that we can pick up Mob.
Oh yeah. Well, I think Mom will be over at that point. Wouldn't it?
I mean, that doesn't stop anybody. But
I haven't seen Mob, so that doesn't help
Really?
me at all.
Okay. I'm glad I haven't said anything yet then.
well, here's the good thing about it: you can start it.
I
So,
don't know, just throw it on the list, I guess.
Mom
well,
is
well, I
Mr.
mean, you're all about checking a list and checking it twice. So,
Ho ho ho.
Find out if Mom is naughty or nice.
Mob's one of those characters where he's drawn like a background character, and it just makes me laugh. And I'm like, that's weird. Okay.
Mom,
That's actually the point.
I will
Oh,
say,
see?
Mom gets a new look this season. It's pretty funny. I think you'll like it.
Sweet.
Guys, we've done the thing. We have talked Spy X Family episodes 21 and 22. We can't wait to see this topic come back in 2 weeks where we pick up where we left off. We love covering anime and having conversations with you guys of My Hero Academia, Spy X Family, Chainsaw Man, Bleach, Ghibli movies, everything anime and manga. We love covering with you guys every single week. If you do not want to miss any episodes, any chapters, any coverage, make sure you click on the like button, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any episodes on it, and make sure you click on the bell icon so you can get every single coverage that we do every single week. Also, go to our podcast channel, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever podcasts are found. If you love what we do and love listening to us on the go, give us a 5-star review. If you give us a 5-star review, it puts us on the top of the list, and more people can find it. This community can grow, and we can keep talking awesome anime every single week. It was awesome, guys. Thank you, Jamie, for joining us. You're part of the crew now. It's a thing. If people wanted to find you, where can they find you?
You guys can find me at Swiper Art on YouTube and at Swiper_Prime here on YouTube and as well as on Twitch. The Game Awards is actually happening this coming week, depending on when you guys are watching, I guess, on December 8th. So if you guys are watching that, I'll be watching as well. We'll probably also talk about it on the Geek Vibes channel too. So just keep your eyes out.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Isaac, where can people find you, man?
Written work, Webm Entertainment, social media, Emblemaniac.
Mike Thomas.
You can find me watching Chainsaw Man on youtube.com/novice-cinephile. Episode 4 goes up on Monday, so that's a thing if you want to check that out. I'm trying to catch up as fast as possible, trying to edit these as fast as possible so we're caught up before the season ends. Yeah, you can also find me at Geek Vibes Nation. We're doing the Game Awards this week, like Jamie said. You can also find me on the Geek Vibes Twitch channel. In a couple of weeks, I'm going to start The Last of Us Part 1 as we prepare to cover The Last of Us in full over on the Chatter After. We're going to start covering that every single week when it comes out next year. So go to youtube.com/@thechatterafter so you won't miss a thing over there. And yeah, social media, Novice Cinephile, everywhere.
And you can find me at the Scarlet Fan 52 on Twitter. And you can find the pod at the Amateur Otaku. We will see you next time, guys. Have it awesome. Stay awesome. Keep watching anime. Peace.
See ya.
Adios.